We also had some Necromunda teasers and the return of the ever larger, ever growing Gazgul.
Yeah, so we'll get to those two big badasses in a second, and we'll look at the stuff from Necromunda first. So one of the big previews this week was the next book. So for Necromunda, we've seen House of Change, which is effectively, I guess you'd say, the codex for the House Goliath. Now we're seeing House of Blaze, which is the new codex for the House Escher. So both of the factions from the original box are now being given their sort of upgrade books here. They will contain rules and scenarios and all kinds of bits and pieces for you to upgrade your gangs and use them in different ways. And some of the model previews we saw for this were the Death Maidens. So these are House Escher gangers who have died and been brought back through the use of foul sciences, which I think are very cool. And then you've also got the Wild Runners, who are effectively, think of them sort of like a little bit like Jews, I guess you'd say, for the House Escher now. And they come with some very awesome looking sci-fi bows. I think they look absolutely amazing. And they are also flanked by and I cannot quite pronounce this, I'm going to say Spellings, and they're kind of like little weird reptile cat creatures that the House Escher use to hunt down people down in the sort of Underhive as well. As I say, really like the look of all these. I think the aesthetic for House Escher is really awesome, and I think if there was going to be a house within Necromunda that I'd go and pick up, it would probably be House Escher, because I love the idea of painting up some of these sort of bolder colours and things like that across the model range. As well as the stuff for Necromunda, we also got to see some more previews as well. So there was the announcement that there's going to be a new book and some new models for Adeptus Titanicus. So that's still grinding forward, engine kill. So we've got the Knight Acheron and the Knight Castigator there as part of the book for the defense of Ryza. And then finishing things off was a little bit of a teaser for what's coming for the next Psychic Awakening book, and that is that the one and only Fabius Bile is returning with his entourage of weird scientists to go and warp the Space Marine gene seed, especially now that the the Rubicon Primaris exists and he's pushing people through that. So that's an interesting one coming up for Chaos fans as well.
There we go. I think you'll find he's trying to improve it.
We also got Ragnar Blackmane and the new Gazgul. Two fine-looking models, I've got to say.
Yeah. Gazgul looks absolutely ridiculous. Look at this.
It's enormous, isn't it?
But I love the way they've actually done the full resculpt on his face, because the older orcs are really starting to look cartoony, like your original Boys set.
Yeah.
They really need to update it to like this level for the entire orc range.
Well, it's got to be happening soon. You know, Gazgul is bound to be the first, lead up to this.
The first Primaire Orc.
Yes.
Has been released, so all of the other orcs will now be Primaire Orced as well. And get just bigger.
Well, I mean, like, you do have Primaris-sized orcs.
Well, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, Vulcan fought one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he fought the same one a few times.
Right, okay.
Read the Saga of the Beast from Black Library.
Can't make me.
And bring up Blackmane there, do we get a look at him?
Primaris orcs, will we just call them porks?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, porks, yeah.
Porks is good.
Pig orcs were a thing back in the day. They can do it again.
That's true.
That's a lovely sculpt.
Nicely done.
I'm not a huge fan of the sculpt, partly because he's standing on a thing again, and no hero can step on the floor anymore. They're all things lava.
Yeah.
But it's very... I know they've tried to make it dynamic, but it's still very samey, and he's got one arm forward and one arm back swinging his weapon. He's had those stumpy claws forever and a day. He could have had one foot up as if he's kicking something and had those extended.
Oh, do they extend?
They could, for the stabbing into people's faces. He could have had, you know, a bit more of an interesting pose than one arm up, one sword up, which is their default. Every character has got one hand in the air and one weapon in the air. And I just felt they could have done more with him, made him a bit more dynamic instead of just going,
I'm kind of seeing what you're saying, because they're trying to catch motion with every single character now.
And they do it by...
It's getting a little boring.
They do it by putting both hands in the air and
so
putting
you're
them on a
saying
rock.
there's so much motion that it's boring?
I'm saying there's not enough motion in it.
It's the same type of motion.
We used to call it the big book of Citadel static poses. So
you
you could just go through and go left arm up.
So you're getting
right
motion
arm up,
sickness then?
both arms raised.
Yes. I will say yes.
If they'd had him set, so you had Gazgul there, and if you had him in a position where either he had both hands on the axe and maybe one foot as if kicking forward, or just give him more of a dynamic
He does have a foot up on something.
but I don't care about him. I'm talking about the Space Wolf.
Yes.
As if he was fighting Ragnar, and rather than Ragnar going, Jedi mind trick, actually have him sticking the boot in, or just doing something a little bit more interesting than I'm going to be leaping off a rock.
Because the model itself, everybody's face is incredible.
Yeah, but everybody leaps off a rock these days.
It would be interesting to see. I suppose you're somewhat limited, right? Because a Space Marine's armor does limit somewhat in how you pose it to actually make it work.
And if you don't jump off a rock, you'll just look like the superheroes from the Marvel movies before the CG's been done.
That is true.
Woeful.
But, well then, have him on a rock, kicking somebody then. But
They all look like they're skipping.
Yes.
Because they all get to the point where they're going to do their wee jump, and they go for it, and that's all you see. And it looks woeful until they CGI it.
And then it looks amazing.
Now it looks amazing.
And have you not seen Chris Evans doing his like twirling backflip jump thing?
No.
Okay, look it up after the show. It's actually kind of awesome.
Right. There we go. These guys are... Right.
We just search weird stuff on YouTube.
It was why they took TFI Friday off the air.
Oh, yeah.